I am your host, Jess Williamson, an award-winning business and mindset coach and a serial entrepreneur having scaled 4 successful businesses. My purpose is to help you unleash your unique superpowers and to build the life and business of your dreams. Let's get into today's episode. Hello. I am so excited to be hanging out with you today. I recently got back from my trip to Queensland. I spent a whole week in beautiful sunny Queensland and it was so nice. Everyone in Queensland though was complaining about the weather and I'm like, pretty sure I'm sweating right now. The sun is shining. This isn't winter. This is not winter. So I'm going to be sharing with you how my business actually grew while I was on holiday. I also didn't work while I was there. It was not a worky day. It was a holiday to the max. And lately I've been seeing a lot of people online traveling, which is so fun that we can finally travel again because pre-2020, I used to be on a plane every 3 weeks, literally jet setting around Australia, around the world, just getting to meet so many incredible people through my businesses, travel and explore. And one of my top values is adventure. And so while I've been able to travel in the state, it's not the same. It's not the same as being able to get on a plane and just go. And I was traveling solo, which meant that it was so much fun. I got to meet up and hang out with so many other women in business that I'd met along my journey. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about how that week went, how I actually grew my business without having to show up, hustle, find time to work on my computer. Because what I'm seeing at the moment is everyone is traveling, which is so cool. But a lot of business owners are still showing up on Instagram saying, hey, I'm in beautiful Bali. Here's where I'm working from this afternoon. Here's my laptop and I'm on my holiday. Look at this view while I work on my laptop. And while that's a vibe in itself, that is so cool that we get to create businesses that allow us to be in amazing destinations and still make the impact we want, but also have a freaking holiday in a beautiful location. It's also another next level vibe to be able to go travel and not feel the guilt or not feel the anxiety around I have work to do or I should be working right now. And so there's a whole nother level to that we're going to unpack in this episode, which I am so excited to share with you because my whole ethos around business is let's keep it bloody simple. We often overcomplicate things, and half of that is the mindset, the energetics, the deep-rooted beliefs around what work should look like, what work and success mean, and the idea that we have to work hard to be successful. And the other side of it is structuring your business in a way that allows money to flow in, that allows you to make a deep-ass impact without sacrificing your lifestyle and allowing yourself to actually take a break. So I'm going to unpack all of that in this episode. But before we jump in, I have to let you know my program, Business for Life, the price is actually going up very soon. I am giving so much value in this program. We go through all of the things you need to create a business for life. There is so much value. We go through dream life design, deep mindset shifts, all the way to specific sales and marketing strategies to allow that success to flow into your business. And so because I'm always adding to it, I'm always bringing more value and creating huge transformations through the program, the price will be going up very soon. So if you want to get in on that, the link will be in the show notes. Otherwise, you can head over to my website, jessicawilliamson.com.au, and you'll find all of the info and to join there. Otherwise, my DMs are always open if you want to find out more and find out if that is going to be the right fit for you. It is going to help you really streamline your current business, gain so much clarity, and make a deeper impact and bring in the big levels of wealth that you are so ready for. So while I was away, I was basically meeting up with incredible people. I met up with Amanda Campanile, who was a guest on this podcast. I got to hang out with Claire Wood, also a guest on this podcast. I got to meet up with my incredible podcast editors, Bambi Media, which are editing this episode right now, and just get to hang out with so many incredible women. I was also just on the Gold Coast, and Alicia from the Social Impact, who recorded a podcast with us just a few episodes ago, she lives in Melbourne and she was literally staying in the hotel or the Airbnb building right next to mine. So I even got to meet her for breakfast, and it was just a whole vibe being around other incredible women in this space and enjoying the sunshine. I think I went to the beach every single day when I was there. I ate so much yummy food, and I also allowed myself heaps of rest. So as an introvert, as a projector, I need a lot of rest, and being around people and socializing does drain my energy as an introvert. Even though I love it so much, I actually structured my trip in a way that allowed me so much rest. In the past, when I used to travel every 3 weeks, I would often go on the red-eye flight because it was the cheapest. And this shows how far my money mindset has come in general, because this time I booked a flight that was most convenient rather than most cheap. But in the past, I would get on the red-eye flight. I would fly over to Sydney or Melbourne, and I would have about 10 plus meetings in the day. I remember once I went to Sydney and I got off the plane. I had all my luggage. I couldn't check into my hotel yet because you can never check in until like 2, 3 p.m. So here I was running around Sydney CBD with a suitcase to a million different meetings by foot because I didn't take an Uber. I freaking ran around the entire CBD of Sydney. Plus, I went on a ferry over to Manly Beach for a meeting and then all the way back and continued on with my meetings. Like, it was a hectic AF day. And I think I had like half an hour to an hour at each meeting, and then I had to rush off again. But I did what I had to do at the time. And that was also partly because of my money mindset, in that firstly, I took the red-eye flight. Secondly, I crammed all the meetings into 1 or 2 days because I didn't want to spend a whole week's worth of money on hotels, right? I would do that in Sydney for 1 or 2 days. Then I would go to Melbourne because it's cheaper, right? Flying from Perth to Sydney or Melbourne is like 4-hour flight, $500, and flying from Sydney to Melbourne is maybe $50, right? So cheap. So then I would go to Melbourne because I thought, while I'm here, I might as well go to Melbourne and do all of my meetings there at the same time. And then I would do it again. So I would spend maybe 4 or so days across both cities, burn myself out to the max, all in the pursuit of trying to save money, but also all in the pursuit of trying to create success and doing it the hard way, because I believed that was the only way. So when I booked this trip, I decided I'm going to fly into Brisbane because there were no direct flights from Perth to the Gold Coast or Perth to Byron Bay. So logistically, I flew to Brisbane because it was the shortest flight time as well. And I thought I'll go and meet up with a few people there. And this time I only had 1 or maybe 2 meetings per day. That was it. Every single day on my trip, I was at my Airbnb by 5 p.m. I ordered Uber Eats if I didn't go out for dinner, and I watched Netflix. One of the nights, I even went to bed at 7 p.m. and slept until 7 a.m. the next day. And this is where I've really brought a lot more focus back to, what do I need? Instead of saying, how can I save money? How can I fit in as many things as possible? I had gotten really a lot more strict around my boundaries and my energetic boundaries as well. That was a huge help because it meant that when I got back from my trip, unfortunately, I ended up getting a cold and getting sick. But previously, I would get back from these trips and it would take me 2 weeks to feel back to myself. I would just be so burnt out. My energy would be so low. And so this time I got back and I felt so much better despite the cold, right? And I could get back into my life and my business in a way that felt so much more flow. And so that was a huge time of reflection for me to just look back on how I used to do things. And 90% of that was mindset on how I used to show up, how I used to behave in my business. So let's get into the juicy stuff on how I grew my business in that week when I wasn't selling. I wasn't telling people to DM me to sign up to anything. I literally was just being on holiday, showing up, sharing my travels because I wanted to, because it was fun. And I would have done that anyway in the past, like when I used to have a holiday and had just a personal account that wasn't a personal brand. And if anything, I actually made more sales or had more inquiries that week than I had for the previous few weeks. And so the energetics behind that is when you feel good, when you show up just because you are so fired up, so excited, so lit up by the work that you get to do, and it feels fun. People are magnetized to that. When you can show up and be your best self, when you respect your own energetic boundaries, when you are just such a beacon of light, people are attracted to that. But the big thing underlying that is we have, as society, a deep-rooted belief that success must mean hard work. We feel that we have to put in more time, put in more energy to create a bigger result. And that just couldn't be further from the truth. So that is one part of it. The second part is there is a huge belief around wanting to create a freedom business, right? If you're listening to this right now, you probably either have a goal or you feel like you're on your way to creating a true freedom business where you get to show up, create the impact you desire, have the freedom to go to Queensland for a week if you want, go to the beach whenever you desire, and just feel that flow and ease in business. But there is one big reason why you haven't yet created that reality for yourself. If you're still sitting in your business feeling like you're pushing forward and things aren't coming to fruition, it feels like, okay, when I do this one last thing, then I can have more freedom. When I hit X goal, then I'll be able to chill out and relax more. But the number one reason why you or most people are still stuck in the hustle and grind, pushing your business uphill, and dreaming of the day that you finally have more freedom is because at a subconscious level, you don't actually want to grow your business and have more freedom. And I know you're like, Jess, that's the whole reason I'm here. Of course I want to grow my business and have more freedom. That's consciously. But subconsciously, you don't. And here's why. The first thing is that you're gaining benefits right now from the predictability of your business being hard. The predictability of your business needing you to invest all of this time and energy to create a certain output. So your mind subconsciously is gaining benefits from the predictability and it wants to keep you safe. And so you almost become addicted to the stress. You almost become addicted to a certain state of your nervous system being always on and always going. So it's safer for you to stay in that hustle mode rather than stepping into the unknown. The second reason is that you haven't reached a freedom business yet is because you keep blaming external reasons. And you haven't actually chosen to believe that freedom and success can coexist for you. So the number one reason I hear is, oh, I'd love to have more freedom, but I have kids. I would love to have more freedom, but I need the money. As long as you keep blaming those things, your brain is saying, cool, I'm choosing to believe that. Until you decide that I don't want to believe that anymore, and I want to believe that freedom and success can coexist for me. And number 3 is that you're still holding onto the idea that more success equals more work. And that's pretty scary, because the last thing you want when you're desiring a freedom lifestyle, the last thing you want is more work, more hustle. So all of these things are actually happening deep on the subconscious level. And so the first thing we need to do is work on the mindset, shifting the deep inner beliefs, letting go of the things that are holding you back. And sometimes this requires, not sometimes actually, this does require a deep sense of self-awareness, a deep sense of honesty with yourself, with radical honesty that stop bullshitting yourself. Stop bullshitting yourself that it's someone else's fault. When you have a certain external thing, then you can have more freedom. Because I can guarantee you, there are people out there in the world who on paper are way more successful than me, right? On paper, they have more money. On paper, they have bigger businesses. On paper, they have, all of the things, right, that traditionally we think is success. And I can also guarantee you that there are some of those people out there with more success on paper who feel less freedom than I do. There's also the flip side. There's also people who maybe even have less, who feel more freedom than even I do. So often we just decide that when we have more money, we can have more success. But let me tell you right now, if you don't work on that now, the more money you have, the more problems it's going to create for you. Because then you have more money to lose. Then you have more pressure. Then you have more guilt for not showing up. And you get used to that new level, and it becomes even more scary to change, to seek that freedom. So if you want a freedom lifestyle, it needs to happen now. And the great news is it can happen now. The first thing you need to do is decide. And this is something that I work through with my clients inside of Business for Life, but also my one-on-one clients, where we get to go even deeper into really having the deep self-awareness around these things and the way that our brain works, the way that we can create our reality from this. So that is one part. Once we move through that, obviously there is a huge part of it around strategy. So I like to say pretty much everything that I teach is 50% mindset, 50% strategy. But the strategies don't have to be hard. And I'm a big believer in having to do the hard work to create the reality and the success and the freedom that you want. But for it not to have to mean that you have to work hard. There's a difference between doing the hard work and working hard. And so many people confuse the two and they end up working hard, but not actually doing the hard work. And the hard work is having so much radical self-honesty to shift through these things, to say, I'm ready to make a change and actually do things that are a little bit different. It's going to be scary as hell. I'm going to have to push through my next growth edge. But that is where success and freedom get to coexist in that time for you. So you get to choose either keep doing work the hard way or choose to do the hard work and things get to be easy. So let me just unpack a little bit on what I did that week and how that actually grew my business. First things first, I've created a business model that has allowed me to take that time off. It is a simple business model that allows me to make a deep impact, bring in the income, but it also meant that if I took out that week, I wasn't just pushing all of my work onto a different week. I actually had the freedom and flexibility in my schedules where when I got back from holidays, I actually took another whole week off because I was sick. And now that I'm back into work this week, I'm not overrun with so much anxiety or so much on my to-do list, because that is not sustainable either. And if you operate in that way, what it does is it tells your brain, look what happens when I take a holiday. When I take a holiday, I come back and shit hits the fan. And we don't need that either. So first things first, we need to structure your business, your offerings, your pricing structure. All of those things need to help to facilitate that freedom, that flow, and that ease in your business that you desire. The other thing is to have systems and processes set up in your business. So I have a lot of automations. When people were inquiring with me in the DMs to work with me or wanting to purchase programs or things with me, all of that is automated, right? Not my DMs. I reply to all the DMs, but I would reply and I could simply drop a link in the DMs. They would check out. Everything would get triggered on the back end. The welcome, the onboarding, everything happens on the back end so that all I had to do was say, hey, welcome, here's the link, and there you go. And that is how things kept coming through. I also have repeat purchases or ongoing payments in my business. So some clients will choose to go on a payment plan, and that continues to bring in recurring revenue for me. I also have just programs that people can purchase on my website. So all of those things all feed into the same goal of creating more ease and more flow in my business, allowing people the opportunity to purchase from me if they want to purchase from me, and making that whole process easy, because sometimes I see people make it really hard to buy from them. You have to go through like 50,000 steps. They have to get on a phone call and all of these crazy things. And you get to decide how you want your business to run. Start to just do a bit of an audit of your business and maybe where that is not necessarily working for you. And the other part was that I have an amazing VA who is self-sufficient. So even while I was away, I barely messaged her, I barely spoke to her, but I knew and I could trust in the fact that things were happening. She was handling some emails for me on the back end, so I didn't feel like I had to be on my computer all of the time. So there are so many parts to this. I just wanted to share a little bit around huge mindset shifts and some of the systems, strategies, and things that I had set up in my business that allowed that to be my reality. But the biggest reason why my business started to grow in that time is because I have done all of this work. I have done all of this work myself in terms of the mindset, rewiring of these beliefs. That was not my reality in the past. My reality in the past, even when I went on an actual holiday with my partner, I used to feel so much anxiety, so much guilt, so much stress around not being on all the time and feeling like if I stop working, my business is going to fail. And so shifting through all of that, but also having my business set up in a way that can be so powerful. And then bringing into it, showing up with the fun energy. I literally did not mention any offers. I didn't mention, hey, come work with me. None of that, right? I was just showing up, sharing my trip, having fun with it. And that got to feel easy. And so that is something that you can create in your business every day. It doesn't have to feel so serious and heavy and hard. It can feel fun and light and easy. And that is the magic sauce that is going to bring your dream clients to you, because they love your vibe, they love what you're about, and it gets to be fun as well. So I am like dreaming of my next trip, of my next vacation. I don't know if you've used the new Airbnb app, but I've been on there just for fun. And the new Airbnb app, it like filters the places by like really cool themes instead of destinations. And oh my gosh, it is a vibe. I found this whole chateau in Italy that you can stay at, and it's like 20 grand for a week. And I'm like, this is goals. Like, this is happening. Maybe next year, but so much fun. So if you love travel as much as me and you just find that fun, I would highly recommend the new Airbnb app. It is so cool, but that's a little bit of a side note. So, but I hope that helps. And I would love to hear from you in the DMs. So Come and send me a DM if you found this helpful, or even better, if you did find this helpful, please share it with someone, because I love showing up here for you. I love showing up, giving so much value. And if you got something out of this, chances are you probably know someone else who will as well. So I'm going to leave that with you. Go and create some freedom, because you bloody deserve it. And it's time to just get really radically honest with yourself, with the reality that you are creating, and start to choose the one that you really want. So I'm going to leave you there. I hope you have the most amazing week, and I will speak to you next time.